Hey everybody, welcome to the channel and welcome back to our Fallout Deep Dive series where we take the time to look into the locations, factions, and characters within the Fallout series. Today, we're going to be focusing and spending time exploring the U.S.S. Constitution and uncovering the mystery she has hidden within her vessel. Now, before we get started, be sure to like and share the video if you enjoy it. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing for more Fallout content in the future and join our growing community here on YouTube. Now, get your Nuka-Cola and cram ready, and let's get into some Fallout 4. When exploring the northern Boston ruins and just east of Bunker Hill, the sole survivor will eventually stumble across a very odd scenario of a ship crashed upon the top of the Weatherby Savings and Loan Bank. As the player closely approaches the shipwreck, a Mr. Handybot named Lookout will approach the sole survivor.
Scanning. Accessing pre-war records. Record found. 108th Infantry Regiment, 2nd Battalion. Ahoy there. 'Tis Providence, a member of the Congressional Army, is delivered to us in our hour of need.
I was in the Army, but what's the Congressional Army?
Standing orders, sir. Proclamation 3. All members of the U.S. Army are hereby members of the Congressional Army. The captain requests your presence on the bridge. At the double quick, sir.
When interacting with the ship Lookout, the sole survivor will be identified as a military veteran and happily welcomed aboard the U.S.S. Constitution in hope they will choose to assist the bots aboard the ship. The U.S.S. Constitution was originally built in 1797 and was once considered the pinnacle of naval superiority. But of course, with time, as other technologies advanced, the ship eventually became obsolete and was dry docked at the Boston Navy Yard and turned into its primary tourist attraction. The ship then was fully staffed by robots, all programmed to be historically accurate and represent the personalities of what a crew of the Constitution would be like. This is recognizable when interacting with the different bots on the way up to the main deck. This is most recognizable when the first mate threatens the sole survivor, which is followed up with the captain, Ironsides, ordering the first mate to stand down and remind him to use the accent, implying the first mate was not speaking to the sole survivor in character.
Unidentified. Intruder.
Mr. First Mate, this is the captain. This soldier is no intruder.
Requesting permission to use lethal force.
Whoa, easy there.
Unable to comply.
Stand down. That's an order. And for God's sake, use the accent.
I, Captain, standing down.
Upon interaction with Ironsight and further progressing the questline Last Voyage of the U.S.S. Constitution, the player learns that the ship has been equipped with NX-42 rocket engines to help pilot the ship, a radar dish, and remote-controlled cannons via switchboard. Sometime after the Great War, there was an error in the robot's navigation programming which led to the fixing of the rocket engine, and upon launching the ship, it would eventually crash land on top of the Weatherby Savings Loan Bank.
Nest scan 2 points off the port bow. Jump to it.
Aye, Captain.
While our time interacting with the U.S.S. Constitution is a short one, I feel it is one that is unique within the world of Fallout and the Boston Commonwealth. Our time exploring the U.S.S. Constitution is a very important one in the fact that it solidifies the pre-Great War history that the sole survivor had as a military veteran. While playing as Nate, it's known that he was in the military based on the opening cutscene of the game. The initial interaction with Lookout is a direct reminder of that, though. The robot scans us during our interaction and recognizes our history as a vet and sends us aboard to speak with Captain Ironsides.
Hey, Captain.
I'll have none of your lip, Mr. Navigator. Have the crow's nest scan 2 points off the port bow. Jump to it.
Aye, Captain.
Our soldier has arrived. I trust the first mate didn't give you too hard a time. Been too long since we've seen the Congressional Army.
First mate, Congressional Army? Why are you talking like that?
This is the pride of our Navy, the U.S.S. Constitution. As her commander, it is my privilege to enforce a certain measure of decorum amongst my crew.
Your lookout told me to come up here. Why?
I confess, we need your assistance. You visit this fine vessel in trying times. It calmed these long years on her airy perch. Damn you, Weatherby Savings and Loan!
Attention.
I spit at you.
Fugitive should be considered armed and dangerous.
How did it even get up here?
Yeah. How?
A harrowing tale of that there can be no doubt.
After speaking with the captain, it is revealed that the ship is in need of some dire repairs. We're then tasked with replacing the power cables, relay coils, and the ship's guidance chip. If we have an intelligence of 5 or higher, we're able to repair both the wires and power relay coils alike. 3 or higher for the power cables, or a 5 or higher for the relay coil, respectively. During the quest line, we're giving branching options that we can either assist the scavengers attempting to attack the ship or continue assisting Ironsides repairing the ship and defending it.
Robots.
So they were scavengers, but not with you.
Well, they were kinda with us. I mean, we're not really used to working together. It's not like anyone is in charge. But we do have an agreement. Everyone works together, gets an equal share. When you waltzed aboard the ship, those assholes just kinda lost it. They broke our agreement and paid for it. How did you get aboard anyway? We thought you were gonna get cratered for sure.
He knew I was an Army veteran, so he let me on the ship.
Army? Isn't that some old world mumbo jumbo? Whatever. So, you got to see the inside, huh? All that salvage, the real motherlode, just waiting to be stripped and sold. Screw that robot and come work with us. There's dozens more of us nearby. It's only a matter of time before we come out on top.
Naturally, I had to assist our large and in-charge friend. This requires the player to steal the guidance chip from the nearby scavengers camp, and if the player decides to assist the scavengers, then they will request all parts to be brought to them first so they can sabotage them regardless of which route the player chooses, though. You'll then return to the main deck of the Constitution with the guidance chip and place it into the core guidance system. When doing so, Mr. Navigator appears for another short talk with the sole survivor, and then we're tasked with repairing the guidance radar, which requires an intelligence level of 9 or higher, or we can retrieve the Poseidon radar transmitter. Although I had the intelligence level to repair it, I opted to retrieve the new transmitter. Once the new radar transmitter is installed and we speak to Ironsides, we're then given the key to his quarters, and he asks us to retrieve and install the FLL3 turbo pump bearings. These are located at the locations of Corvega Assembly Plant, Fort Hagen, and the General Atomics Factory. At this point in the questline, the sole survivor is tasked with making their decision, assuming they haven't already killed the other scavengers, to either side with the scavengers or the crew of the U.S.S. Constitution, and as I mentioned earlier, I opted to assist the friendly robots. But if the player does choose to assist the scavengers, then they will return to Mandy, and Davies will sabotage the new parts to have the ship explode and further landlock it. At this point, the once friendly robots will become hostile, and the player will be required to eliminate them to complete the overtaking of the U.S.S. Constitution. After the ship has been seized, the sole survivor will then meet up with Mandy and the other scavengers at the nearby Cabot house. It is at this point that the sole survivor is then double-crossed by the remaining scavengers, in which will result in them becoming hostile to the player. Because of this, I personally don't believe that this is an ending to be worth doing, as there seems to be a lot of unnecessary death between the robots as well as the scavengers. Whenever we side with Ironsides and the other robots, the sole survivor will then further move on to install the new parts and head back to the main deck to speak with the captain. And it's at this point that the scavengers that are remaining decide to attack the ship, and after defending the Constitution, By preventing the scavengers from reaching the main deck, the player will be awarded the Broadsider.
Admire your pluck. Here is your amply deserved reward. Godspeed to you, sir.
And then be asked by a captain to assist with the launching of the ship. And I think this is important to note that if the scavengers do reach the main deck, the quest will be considered failed. So just a reminder to quick save here. The switch to assist with the launch is located in the building just across the street diagonally from the ship. When flipping the switch, the ship will then take off to complete the robot's quest of reaching the ocean. Unfortunately, the ship will be interfered with by running directly into a skyscraper off in the distance.
Mr. Navigator, light the engines. Dreaded savings and loan, we shall be moored no longer. We are away. Your points to starboard. Yes, yes. We did it! Victory at last! Helm reports we are a quarter fathom closer to the Atlantic. By my calculations, in a mere century we will take to the ocean. Well done.
At this point, if the player makes their way over to that skyscraper, which is Faneuil Hall, they can access the ship via elevators and further speak with Captain Ironsides. At this point, Captain Ironsides will award us with the lieutenant's hat, and this will fully conclude the quest, the USS Constitution's Last Voyage.
I'm sure everyone in the Commonwealth could see your maiden voyage.
To be certain, and our rockets gave our enemies much to consider. I wager at this rate we should land in the ocean in one, perhaps two more launches. My circuits tremble with excitement.
I'm glad I could help out.
You were instrumental, sir. A veritable godsend. In recognition of your courageous role in this, I hereby promote you to the role of honorary lieutenant. And being that I, well, cannot actually fit below decks, I hereby give you the captain's quarters as well. 3 cheers for our new lieutenant. Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray!
For me, personally, I think this questline and discoverable location is one of the most unique ones in Fallout 4. I was introduced to the Fallout franchise with the launch of Fallout 3, and there were many unique quests and discoverable locations in that game that were just quirky and really made Bethesda stand out within the RPG world. While I love the world exploration of Fallout 4, I've always felt like there is a lower number of these weird, quirky, off-the-wall quest lines like Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas had. And I believe this questline really, really hones in on that quirky experience most longtime players expect with the Fallout IP. Now, when you were exploring the Commonwealth, did you ever come across the USS Constitution? If so, did you help Captain Ironsides, or did you side with the local scavengers? I had a lot of fun working on this video, and I appreciate the support from each and every single one of you that support this content, and I want to take a moment to recognize our patrons specifically. Bipolar Llama, Eternal Fire 117, Jess, Madi the Cryptid, Stephanie, Zach is back. If you would like to consider becoming a patron as well, the link is down in the description below. But this is going to do it for this Fallout 4 deep dive episode. And if you're new here and you enjoyed it, be sure to check out our deep dive playlist for other lore videos. But until next time, be sure to stock up on mini nukes and keep your fat man clean, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Fallout Deep Dive series.